Welcome to the latest edition of the DBS webinar series Insurance Insight, where we tackle in-depth topics, dig deep into breaking news, and scour the industry for the people who can give you the information you need as a financial professional. In these sessions, we give you the tools and analysis so you can better understand the products and solutions that will help you help your clients. Now, here's your host, Kurt Fasen.
Hello, welcome to another edition of Insurance Insight. My name is Kurt Fasen, and thank you so much for taking time once again to join us for what I think is going to be a very interesting dialogue for all of us today. Today, we're going to talk about boosting life insurance sales, and more specifically, focusing on target markets and some new compelling and somewhat exciting information that I think you're going to find very, very interesting. So today I've invited two guests from Prudential to join us on this topic. First, please welcome Shané Harris. Shané leads the social responsibility and partnerships at Prudential. She's been with the firm since 2004. Shané, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And I'd also like to welcome Newman Rochester. Newman is Vice President of Strategic Relationship Management at Prudential. He dedicates most of his efforts helping financial professionals and their clients plan for retirement. He's been with the Pru since 2012 and has over 20 years of experience in the financial services industry. Newman, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, Kurt.
All right, well, let's get started. When we think of September, I know about you, but I kind of think of it as the end of summer. Days are getting a little bit cooler. And up in Minnesota, the leaves are starting to change. And thank goodness the kids are back in school. But there's kind of more to it than that, especially for our industry. Newman, I'm going to start with you. Can you share what's significant about September in regards to the financial wellness?
Absolutely. And Kurt, when you mentioned about back to school, I have 4 kids. So finally, all 4 Rochester kids are in school, which is fantastic. But in seriousness, the Life Insurance Awareness Month is September. I believe it's the 20th anniversary for Life Insurance Awareness Month. And Prudential, along with every other carrier, really looks to engage advisors, clients on just why insurance. For those of you that may not know, there's about a $12 trillion insurance gap. And in order for us to close that gap, it's going to take every distributor on the planet to do that, especially when you think about the life insurance gap. I'll get into more details in a moment. But yeah, I'm excited for Liam, Life Insurance Awareness Month, and all the programs that we have available for advisors and for clients.
Absolutely. 12 trillion insurance gap. It's almost overwhelming when you think about it. And you're right. It is the 20th anniversary. During this time, Life Happens and LIMRA have really kind of combined forces to put their annual insurance barometer study out that really gives very interesting and important data about life insurance ownership, perceptions, and buying trends, and a lot more. And one thing they've tracked for years is while 41% of Americans really don't have sufficient life insurance, there are many underserved markets that even have a greater need. Here's a couple examples. 44% of women, nearly 50% of both Black and Hispanic adults, all have markets that don't have sufficient life insurance. And over the years, Life Happens has helped address these underserved markets by having spokespeople and messages targeting each one of these specific markets. We have seen how important it is to spend time understanding the different groups of people, their needs, and I think today, with the experts we have with us, that's something I'd really like to focus on. So, Shané, Prudential has developed material specifically for women, the Hispanic market, millennials, and Black customers. What is Blueprints to Black Wealth?
Well, Kurt, Blueprints to Black Wealth is Prudential's first holistic, multifaceted growth strategy aimed at addressing the financial wellness needs of Black Americans. So through Blueprints, we seek to authentically engage Black Americans to better understand their unique needs, to provide them with access to more tools and solutions to build personal and generational wealth.
That's fantastic. So talk a little bit about why Blueprints for Black Wealth Initiative is really so important for the Black consumer market.
Well, first of all, there is a viable market opportunity in the Black consumer segment. According to research done by McKinsey, there is a $300 billion market opportunity with just this segment. And that is really driven by a number of factors. Black consumer spending power, which is $1.3 trillion annually, is on track to outpace growth for the entire US population. And we also know that this consumer segment is motivated to really build wealth and understand how to address generational wealth for their community. However, we also know a couple of other factors. We know that a legacy of historical and discriminatory practices have played a significant role in widening the racial wealth gap, leading to an urgent need to build solutions that accelerate financial outcomes and rebuild trust with this segment. So closing the racial wealth gap starts with acknowledging the power and readiness of this community and their commitment to build wealth. And that essentially is what we're trying to accomplish with Blueprints to Black Wealth. Blueprints to Black Wealth provides us with an opportunity to authentically engage with Black consumers and to meet them where they are, whether they're just beginning their financial journey or they're more advanced and need more advanced financial tools and solutions. And the goal is to connect them with the tools and solutions that are right for them, that helps them on their personal journey of wealth building.
That's fantastic. And when if I just want to wind back just a little bit, did you say a $300 billion market opportunity from McKinsey?
Yes. McKinsey has done a series of reports on the Black consumer segment in particular and the spending power that they have. So there has been an acknowledged tangible market opportunity that we are very interested in pursuing at Prudential.
It absolutely makes sense. And I would think that for those of you joining today, I hope you all sat up a little bit straighter in your chair and are listening even more, because this is a tremendous market opportunity. So answer this: when did Prudential begin really leaning into the Black consumer market and becoming invested in helping this community?
Well, Prudential is a purpose-driven corporation. We were founded on the belief that financial security should be within reach for everyone. So Blueprints in many ways builds upon our long-standing commitment to invest in communities, organizations, and institutions that too often lack the types of investments that drive true economic inclusion. So we at Prudential have been very committed to supporting communities like our hometown of Newark, New Jersey. And as it relates to investments in Black and Brown communities, we are currently delivering against a $1 billion commitment that includes deepening our investments in community-led organizations and supporting institutions that drive economic empowerment in the Black community, such as supporting Black-owned businesses and historically Black colleges and universities. And we believe that through Blueprints, we're providing a suite of tailored tools paired with education that really builds on those community and philanthropic investments, really to drive business impact.
So let's talk a little bit about those tools. Can you explain a little bit more about what tools Prudential will be sharing with financial professionals to really help them to engage in this market?
Well, Kurt, our team has, done a lot of research on the needs and the insights, particularly post 2020, on the Black community and what they're looking for in terms of, what they need to connect with a financial services brand. So, the tools and resources that we will have available will just have actionable steps and highlight some of the insights that we think allow folks to really connect authentically to the Black community. The resources will also provide actionable education guides that help support your existing clients and also help to drive customer acquisition. So when I talk about tools and resources, some of the ideas and things that we will have available, one is a microsite that provides more information about blueprints to Black wealth and will serve as the primary digital destination for prospects and clients. And also provide those additional educational resources that we know resonates with the Black community. There will be an advisor playbook available that highlights some of the research and insights that we have uncovered, and also provide key personas within the Black community and talking points on how to engage when prospecting. And lastly, we are seeking to provide a lot more rich educational content that outlines the offerings of blueprints as a added benefit of working with Prudential.
You put together what sounds like a great menu of resources and tools. And, in my background in marketing and sales, I know one of the toughest things we have to all do, and I'm curious what Prudential is going to do, is generate awareness. How do you generate awareness? Maybe work with partners or social influencers, but what's your game plan there?
Well, a big part of Blueprints to Black Wealth is to be designed to work collaboratively with partners who are trusted and valued by the Black community. So that ranges from community-based partners to social media influencers, people that the community depends on to really get advice and insights. And what we want to point them to is the importance of working with a financial professional to really help them on their financial journey. So we have developed kind of homegrown relationships. They come out of deep partnership. So these partners can really attest to Prudential as a purpose-driven company, but also attest to the importance of really working closely with a financial professional to help folks on their financial journey.
That's fantastic, and I have no doubt that will be very, very successful. Well, I want to switch gears now and bring Newman into our conversation. So, Newman, talk a little bit about the importance of life insurance with the Black customers.
Sure. And before I get started, Kurt, I always am impressed by the work that we do here at Prudential. I've been here for, like you said, 11 years. I've been at probably 5 different large financial institutions, and it's not only just talking the talk, but it's walking the walk. So always high five and air hug to Shané and her team for doing what she's doing. And so the sharing the importance, right? It's not a one size fits all. And I think sometimes financial services companies and other companies think that, well, let's just put the product on the shelf and everyone will come. Not exactly the case at all. And so when I think about in addition to the tools that Shané mentioned, I'm really excited about because they're slick marketing company, their value add, and just really fantastic content. We have a life insurance awareness Zero site that's very user-friendly, easy to get to. But then one of the things that I love the most is the stories. It's not just here's a case study, 55-year-old female, X, Y, and Z. It's like, no. Let's talk to our actual clients that are delivering value for us and value for them and their family. One of the stories that I think Shané was at a industry conference that shared, it was a Black single mom that was most advisors were, you know what? Call me when you get a job. I believe she was unemployed as well. But it was the advisor from Prudential that spent the time, did the education, and not only had the goal of this woman buying their first house, but getting a job, getting promoted, and now on the verge of financial freedom. But it was that person that was there from at the very beginning. And then lastly, the Black consumer digital experience. We have highlights, testimonials, videos from our president, Celine Hitchcock. So a lot of just making sure that the information is available, but also it's non-threatening. right? It's just, you can go to it, you can take a look, you can browse, but also there's a call to action as well.
I think that's great. So there's a lot of ways to help share the importance, but now let's switch a little bit. We've got our audience with us today, both joining us through our video and over our podcast. Let's talk to them about how can learning more about Black consumers really help them to grow their business.
Yeah, and that's probably the thing that I don't want to say I presently struggle with, Kurt, but it's one of the points of frustration in my business, where it's similar to, no one gave me a book on how to raise 4 Rochester kids, right? I had to kind of learn through trial and error and just figure it out. And I believe the same thing for every target market. Let's face it, I've been in this business for over 20 plus years. Most of my leaders in the organization have been white men. But that's not to say that because they're white men that they can't educate and understand and build awareness for themselves. And I think that's the goal. It's the and with the tools that Shané mentioned and the tools that we're talking about, it's the forget about selling to this marketplace first. Let's just learn about the marketplace. Let's learn about the opportunity. Like you mentioned, ears perk up when I hear $300 billion, right? But if you don't understand about this marketplace and how to talk with them, then you are going to miss out on the opportunity, because all you're thinking about is a commission sale. And so I think from my standpoint, it's just the education. But then once the education happens, it's the activation. And it doesn't need to be, again, not a one size fits all. It doesn't need to be a specific, we're doing a Black event. It could just be inclusivity and inviting, because whether we tried or not, before Shané and her team launched Blueprints for Black Wealth, we were getting business through Black consumers regardless, right?
Yeah.
And I venture to guess mostly every company was as well. But if we can be intentional and we can be specific about how we're doing it, now the game is opened up completely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure at DBS, I don't have any demographic information, so I can't really tell you, but given the fact that we do thousands of policies a year, I can pretty safely guarantee you that we have many different demographics in there. But if we could be smarter about our approach, if we could think more about, be more intentional, I think it could be even better. So, all right, so we've brought up the market, we've provided some educational tools, you've given compelling argument of why people should be interested in this market. But now I think it's important to help them think about, the advisors to think about, how do they find new prospects? How do they find new Black consumer prospects? Have you seen best practices in your time in the field?
Absolutely. And whether it's independent channel or institutional channel or all points in between, there's absolutely best practices. I think the first thing we need to think about with the best practices is the different markets that we're serving, right? When I think about when Shané was talking about historically Black colleges and universities, Budgetnista, Pinky Cole, education and awareness, because of the challenges, historical challenges that we've had in the Black community, the trust factor is not there. When I think about my sister, who is she's a corrections officer in New Jersey. She doesn't exactly wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning thinking about, oh, I think I'm underinsured, Newman, help me out, give me a call, right? But the education and awareness for that community is absolutely there, because how can you know what I should be doing if I'm not really sure what financial wellness even means to me, right? And so it's understanding that, but then also from a target market perspective, Prudential does a very good job with estate planning, VUL sales, et cetera. And I would argue that when my wife, she works at a law firm, I'm a sales executive at Prudential, when she thinks about buying life insurance, she calls Eric, her financial advisor. My sister thinks that she needs $1 million of investable assets to talk to an Eric, when Eric will talk to anyone for $1, right? So just that education awareness standpoint is there. But once we get there, then we're talking to Black surgeons, Black accountants, Black executives, targeting those demographics, but not having a special different presentation, but having the same presentation that I give and our team gives across the country at various institutions. Because they don't want to be sold anything. They want to be educated, understand where the challenges are, and where does this product that Prudential has fit into the marketplace. So I think from a best practice standpoint, it's all about targeting the marketing, understanding the demographics, but taking off the shelf what we already do very well. And I think that's been working for many advisors across the country.
And one thing that resonated with me when you were speaking, Newman, was the fact that people, I don't care who you are, people don't like to be sold, right? They like to have a solution that's going to help them meet whatever those goals are, wherever it is they're headed, whatever it may be. And that kind of leads you to consumers' financial confidence. And my guess is, there has to be an impact, right? So what is the impact when a consumer starts owning life insurance to their financial confidence? And can you speak to, in your opinion or information that you've seen, why is that important?
Yeah, it's I sorry for the analogies. I have a lot of kids, as we already described, but it's the no one just wakes up and starts playing basketball, right? You have to learn the basics. You have to kind of learn how to dribble. You have to understand the game a little bit more. And so there's access and opportunity are the two biggest things to giving people that financial confidence. I'll use my sister as the example. When I started to talk to her about my advisor named Eric, she instantly said, well, I don't have enough money for Eric. And then I explained to her what is needed. And she, oh, okay, well, that's a lot different, right? And so, and it goes without saying, when you are financially secure, you have a lot more confidence. But I'll go back to the example of the working mom that was unemployed with the case study. It's the knowing a bit more about what seems like these complicated financial vehicles, but you break it down into the ABCs of financial wellness, right? And it's not just about owning life insurance, it's about how do you mitigate taxes in retirement, Social Security, healthcare, right? There's so many things that you pack into it. Life insurance tends to be one thing that bubbles up really quickly, but then there's a lot more there. And so we have a white paper. It might be good for us to share post call, but it tells a lot of the same story. People that own less than $50,000 of insurance don't have the same amount of confidence that people that might own more than $200,000 of insurance. And it comes down to just, if I understand it and I own it, I am more likely to talk to people about why they should be owning it as well. And so that's probably the thing I'd go back to, Kurt.
Totally makes sense. And, I think about, I spent a period of time as an advisor, as an agent, in fact, for the Prudential many years ago. And what I found was people really don't want to sit around thinking about life insurance. They want to be thinking about going on vacation, raising their kids, doing 100 other things. But when they don't have it, it creates a secondary burden on them. They don't have that financial confidence, and they start it. I think it affects their health. It affects lots of things. And I've seen it firsthand. So I would agree with you that it is critically important. Let's talk just for a minute. What kind of life insurance products does Prudential offer to meet the needs of the Black consumer market?
Sure, and I'd say we have a full suite, and it's everything from the term products and more of the simplified solutions thing. So when someone is maybe they're fresh out of school, just getting their first job, they recognize, okay, let me do the 1 or 2 times my base salary to get that group life insurance policy. But as the house, kids, and other things happen, as you know, Kurt and the DBS team, our term product has one of the richest conversion privileges, 30-year conversion, right? So when they purchase a term policy, which what they can afford now, what makes sense for them and their family, as they grow into the marketplace, as their income grows, right? We talk to clients all the time, right? When you purchase this term product, you were single, didn't have a house. Now you house, cars, kids, and you've had 5 promotions since then, your insurableness has changed quite a bit. And so we also do phenomenal in the permanent space with our variable and survivorship products, business insurance, estate planning. And so I would say DBS has some of the best companies in the country working with them. And I would say Pru has a full suite of offerings to be there wherever your client may be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would say that, we have a very, very long-standing, very deep relationship with Prudential. And I think one of the reasons is, there are many, but one of the reasons is the massive suite of products that you have and the ability you have to meet the consumers where they are and bring the solutions that they need right exactly when they need them. I'm going to give our guests just a moment to catch their breath, and then we'll come back for the final word. So a couple things I want to note. First, DBS is very proud to partner with carriers like Prudential that can offer insights like this for you, our advisors. Together we can really work harder to help be more intentional, to meet and exceed the needs of markets like the market we spoke of today, the Black consumer. We can do that together. Now, if you go out to as you can see here, the DBS not our microsite, just our regular website. We have microsites too, but take a look at our website. And you can see that out here, you can have access to all sorts of information. And if you have questions or would like more information about the information we shared today with Prudential, just reach out to any one of your case design analysts or any one of your regional sales directors. They'd be more than happy to help direct you and get you that information so we can really help you to help your customers and make an impact on lives every single day. All right, let's go back to our guests for the final word. I'll start with you, Newman. Newman, any final words for our guests today?
Yeah. What are you waiting for? Right. If you're not working with a company like Prudential, really, like, what are you waiting for? Also, too, if a company just says, here's the marketing piece, let me know how it goes, it's probably not the right partnership, right? It's about the goal, it's about the mission, and it's about the longstanding commitment to this market. So call me, call a local wholesaler, and let's get an activation strategy, because what I've seen that Shané's team has done, we have proven techniques in market to grow.
Absolutely. And if you don't know their numbers, call DBS. We'll get you in touch with them. All right, Shané, final words from you today.
Well, I would just echo Newman's enthusiasm. This is a unique moment in time, and the Black community is ready to focus on how to build wealth. They are motivated to have that conversation. And what we're hoping to do is make sure that more folks are armed with the insights and the strategies on how to build trust, how to have an authentic relationship, because we want more Black Americans to have access to wealth building tools. So we're excited about this campaign and look forward to making sure more people have access to the tools and solutions that we're making available through the Blueprints campaign.
I love it. Thank you both for joining today. It's been a pleasure having you with us. And thanks to all of you out there. Thanks for taking time out of your day to join us again. And until next time, we'll see you real soon. But until then, take care, be safe, and we'll see everybody.